I call the honourable member for Lyons.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. My question is to the Minister for Social Services. Will the Minister update the House on the progress of the government's social services budget measures?
I call the honourable Minister for Social Services.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and can I thank the member for Lyons for his question and for his representation in this place of that great heartland from Tasmania. Yes. And on that note, to commend him and the member for Braddon and Bass, who last night brought producers from Tasmania here for the Tastes of Tasmania. And it was great to see those producers here in Canberra. Well, I can answer the member for Lyons by saying that the operation to repair the budget continued today. It continued today. And that was because we passed in this House the first tranche of welfare reform legislation. Welfare reform legislation, which in doing so brought about a $2.7 billion savings, $2.7 billion savings to the Commonwealth budget. And that, of course, is in the context of the legacy of deficit and debt that we inherited from the former Labor government. Deficits running out to $123 billion, a trajectory of Commonwealth debt of $667 billion. That means every month in Australia $1 billion has been spent in just paying the interest bill that we inherited from the Labor Party. $1 billion a month just in paying the interest bill. And of course, if we ever got to the $667 billion, it wouldn't be $1 billion a month, it would be $3 billion a month. And that means for every Australian, for every person sitting in this gallery today watching these proceedings, that would mean a $25,000 debt for every man, woman and child in Australia. That's the trajectory of debt that we inherited from the Labor Party, and that's why these measures today, in terms of repairing the surplus, in making sure that we have a surplus in the future, is something which is so important, and $2.7 billion is an important down payment to actually achieving that for Australia. But that's not the end of these proceedings. We have reintroduced, as the member for Lyons knows, we have reintroduced into the House this morning the bills, the substance of the bills that were in the parliament previously, so that we can continue to prosecute these changes which are needed for welfare in Australia. The big difference between people sitting on this side of the House and those in the opposition is that we believe that we should be doing everything that we can to encourage Australians to be in work. By contrast, those on the other side are quite content that people remain on welfare for months and years, and in some cases, tragically and sadly, for decades. That's the difference between us. We will continue to prosecute that legislation to ensure that Australians have work in the future, that they can contribute to the mainstream economy and the economic well-being of this country, rather than just leaving them on welfare.